Right, good afternoon and welcome to Sports Talk right here on the family station Love 101 FM. My name is Kathya and this is the Sports Talk's official pre-Olympic show. Coming up in the show today, we will be talking to somebody who is, well, two persons actually who are heading to Paris, one in a journalistic position, as well as one of our athletes or diver. Yona Knight Wisdom will be speaking with him, or we had an interview with him earlier this week, and we'll hear what he is saying in terms of his preparation for Paris. We'll also be having joining us Kemal Ford and Daniel Wheeler as they talk about pre-Olympics as sports analysts, and it is just going to be a fantastic afternoon. We go until 2 o'clock. This is the official pre-Olympic show. Welcome, and I hope you enjoy. All right. Well, of course, Olympics is now officially 6 days away. And we are excited. I am excited, and I'm sure you must can hear the excitement in my voice, right, people? Yeah, man. We're excited that the Olympics coming up, and of course, Jamaica will be represented in 4 sporting events. So, track and field, judo, diving, and swimming. So, we're looking forward to our participants through the Olympics, and just looking forward to a great performance. The Olympics, it's every 4 years. And so the athletes have to prepare for 4 years for this one shot, this one opportunity that they get. And that's why the Olympics carry such a heavy weight, because it's just something that people look forward to. But there are other things happening. We're gonna talk a little bit football, as the under-20 Reggae Boys, they bowed into action yesterday, last night. Actually, we're gonna talk about what's happening for cricket, lovely cricket. Can't I say it? Yeah. You know how I demolished. I'm not going to say too much, but how I, very critical of the West Indies squad in their first test against England. We're going to talk about what's happening in the second test, because something good is happening. Good things are happening in the second test. So, stay with us. As I said, we go up until 1 o'clock, so stay with us and, just enjoy the show. We got lots to talk about. All right, let's kick off things with what's happening over there in England with the West Indies squad. And it's now the end of day 3 in the second test against West Indies versus England. Now, boy, I don't know. I guess some of the messages reached to the West Indies batsmen, but they really been putting on some good cricket over the past, and it now feels like, yes, officially we're a part of a test match. Okay, so first innings, England, they made 416 all out, and persons were now afraid that West Indies, well, let's see what would have happened. However, in reply to the first inning, to England's first inning score, West Indies, they made 457 all out, which is a very fantastic score by what is currently a young West Indies squad. Of course, Hodge, he top scored in that innings. He got 120 from 179 balls. Da Silva, he also had 82 from 122 balls. Athens, he had 82 from 99 balls. And Craig Brathwaite, he had 48 from 72 balls, being the top scorers in the first innings. Now, in reply, England, they are now 248 for 3, and this is the second test. and it is currently happening at the in Nottingham, England, and so not bad going, good going so far by the West Indies squad. We love to see it. We love to see it. Congratulations to those batsmen who they put on good runs. So currently, England is leading by 207 runs, but I'm sure they will not be quick to declare, as they would have known that the West Indies would have given, well, scored more than they did in the first innings. So that it will be interesting. It's 2 days to go in the match. So let's see what the English tactic would be, if it is to maybe get to probably 350, 400, and then send back in the West Indies to try to chase it down. But then it's 2 holidays remaining for batting. So, the tactics of when do you declare and what type of score do you look at for the other team to make, because you're then probably going to give them an entire day or a day and a half. It's really going to, at that point, it's really going to be important as to what they do. But we continue to cheer on the young West Indies Test squad, and hoping that they'll be able to pull off a victory. If not, they'll be able to draw the match. Yeah, so that's what's going on for the West Indies. The West Indies squad. Now, last night, just jumping quickly to football, because as I said, this is supposed to be our pre-Olympic show. So we're just gonna get out the other sports out of the way quickly. But before we go to, well, yes, we're jumping to football. Of course, Spain would have won last weekend, right? Okay. I'm just making sure that I'm giving you the information up to date. So Spain and Argentina would have won in terms of Euro 2024 and Copa America 2024. So yes, Spain, they would have defeated England 2-1, and Argentina would have defeated Colombia 1-0. So yeah, I mean, the 2 games were good games, entertaining to a point. The Spain England game was less entertaining, I must say, for some I don't know. I don't want to say strange reason, but yeah, the Spain England game was definitely a little less entertaining for me. I didn't really like it, but. Those are the champions. Spain, champions of Euro, so they're Euro champions 2024, and of course Copa American champions, that is England. Yeah. We also saw that the Reggae Boys, they dropped a few places in the last FIFA ranking. We're not surprised they didn't win any games in the Copa America first round, and so we kind of expected that to happen. They're now ranked 59th in the world, dropping a few places down to 59th. So yeah, why not? Yeah, it's what was expected. I thought actually they were gonna drop to 61st, but it was only 59. So at least it wasn't it wasn't too bad at all. So that's what's happening in that world. Last night, though, Jamaica were thrashed 9-love in the under 20 CONCACAF and under 20. They were thrashed 9-love by the USA. I mean, wow. Yes, thrashed. Properly thrashed last night were the young Reggae Boys. USA scored in the second, third, 16th, 20th, 39th, 54, 67, 77th, and 90 plus 1 minute. So, boy, it was a rough outing for our young Reggae Boys, but we're hoping that they'll be able to bounce back in their next match Also, we saw one of our regular girls this week, Chantal Swaby, signing for Leicester City. Was it Leicester? No. Yes. Okay. I think it was in the Women's Super League. Right. So it's good to see. So that means we will have two, I believe, two players. Yes, because Khadija Shaw is still with Manchester City. So two ladies playing in the Women's Super League come September. This morning there was the Diamond League. Yes, this morning there was the Diamond League, and boy, I know one of my analysts who is about to join the show, well, later on. I know he's a very happy man this morning, as Nikisha Price, yes, Nikisha Price, 400-meter runner. She ran in the Diamond League this morning, 48.57 seconds, making her now the new Jamaica national record holder, making her now the fastest woman in 2024. Yes, making her saying, "Me, sir, pick me, sir." Have her both hands up for that gold medal in Paris. It was just, and I mean, I watched the race a few times. Smooth as butter was Nikisha Price this morning. Trust me, in London. And I know, of course, most of our athletes, they will be now, but the London Diamond League is actually the last Diamond League before they go over to Paris. So in the next, and I know persons are saying, how comes the Diamond League is so close to the actual Olympics? Well, the Olympics start on July 26th, which is 6 days away, right? Which would be next week, Friday. However, track and field does not start until August 1st, which is week after next Thursday. So the athletes, they do have time to rest and recover before the beginning of track and field. And then there's some athletes that won't start running until probably in another 2 weeks time, so they'll definitely get enough time to rest and recover. But 48.57 seconds is a blistering. I was trying to see here, maybe Kemal, when Kemal comes on later, he can tell us what's the ranking for her 48.57 now, in terms of how fast she is on the ranking. She also broke the meet record. That meet record, I believe, was set by Sanya Richards-Ross. So she also broke the meet record at that London Diamond League. So fantastic things happening. We also had some other performances that we'll probably speak about later on. But yeah, that's it for I would say the other sports, but not true for the first part of Sports Talk. When we come back, though, we'll be going into what today's really focus about, our pre-Olympic feature, and we'll be talking to some analysts. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
Don't let freshness stitch you when you need it the most. Wash your clothes with Downy Softener to keep dazzling everyone around you from day to night. Try Downy Softener now.
Gear up the schoolers! July 15th to September 14th, Bashka's amazing back-to-school deals just for you! Buy a case of books and receive a box of pencils and pens! Don't miss special discounts on computer tables and chairs starting August 1st! That's not all! 2 lucky winners will receive a Samsung tablet or a $30,000 back-to-school shopping spree! Follow us on all socials at Bashka Jamaica for more information. Visit Bashka today and gear up the schoolers! Bashka, the store that gives you more. You want $50,000 towards back-to-school expenses? Enter the AM Financial Back-to-School Promotion. Apply for any unsecured loan between $20,000 and $3.5 million and be one of 10 winners for a chance to win $50,000 towards tuition, books, anything for back to school. Apply now at loansale.amfinancialja.com. Applications close August 23rd, 2024 with the draw date August 30, 2024. Check out social media at amfinancialja for more information. Authorized under Section 58C of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act. You made all the preparations but still suffered serious damage from the hurricane. Recovering from any disaster will be hard, but there's help for those who need it most. Look out for the Ministry of Labor and Social Security to visit your home and make damage assessments. Make sure you have a government-issued ID or letter from a JP identifying you. If you suffered damage to your home and have not been visited by our team, please call 876-922-8013. We're leaving no one behind. A message from the Ministry of Labor and Social Security.
Welcome back to Sports Talk right here on the family station Love 101 FM. The name is Kathya, and of course, this is our special. The people on Facebook and YouTube. Okay, great. This is our special pre-Olympic feature, and joining me now. Well, I'm only seeing one, but joining me now are no stranger to this show. Right. Joining me now, one person is no stranger to this show, which is who has become a friend of mine now, Kemal Ford, and of course, sports journalist Daniel Wheeler. Daniel, Kemal, good afternoon. Welcome, gentlemen.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Okay, great. No, Daniel? All right, Kemal, I think I'm only hearing you now, Kemal. So we'll go. How are you, Kemal? It's 6 days before the Olympics.
I'm excited. The Olympic spirit is slowly building up, and there are a lot of excitement as the days go by. Opening ceremony next week, Friday in Paris. A lot of excitement. I'm just really and truly grateful that after so long, 3 years, we've no wait 3 years for this Olympics. It still was a long time. We had World Championship in various sporting events, the pinnacle now. The Olympics were here, so I'm excited.
All right, let me see. Daniel, you're with us now?
Cheers, Kathya. You hear me?
Yeah, man, I'm hearing you loud and clear. Yes, Daniel,
okay,
go ahead.
Well, that's for having me. First of all, hey, come on, and good afternoon to your listeners. Well, it seems that we've been in World Championships preparations for the past 3-4 years now, and it's because of COVID. Obviously, it's been a major championship every year since 2021. So we're not sure of how much it has taken out on the legs of the athletes, but it has led into some great performances. Obviously, the Diamond League today, the final Diamond League in London, kind of gave us a preview of what we can expect and in terms of finalizing our predictions. The only thing that we can be sure is there are going to be some tight races for the line in this Olympics, especially, being this the first one finally with fans. So I think for athletics fans, they should be able to have a chief, especially since, they won't be able to be in the stands in Tokyo.
Yeah, and Daniel, before I come to you, because you made an extra special announcement yesterday. We'll come back to that. We'll come back to that. Kemal, for you, let's start, even though this is pre-Olympics, and of course, the Diamond League would be the last event before. So let's give today some attention, because I know that Nikisha Price holds a very special place in your heart, and I said it before. I know Nikisha Price holds a special place in your heart. What does it mean for you now, Kemal, that she's now the world leader in the 400 meters? 48:57 is what she ran this morning. How do you feel about that?
I watched the race live and I was astonished because, again, I know her strategy, run the first two hard and then come off the last curve and in the lead and pump to the end. However, like when I saw the time, I was like, 48.57, and this was actually the first professional race, in the Puma kit, in new shoes, obviously new gear. And, for her to be taking on people like Natalia Kazmareka, people like Lika Clava, and their own Arkansas teammate, Amber Anning, was in that race as well. It's going to be dangerous. Like 48.57, the seventh fastest all-time pass surpassing the great athletes such as Asanarita Dross, Asid Mokakin as well. Come on.
All right, Daniel. Other than obviously Nikisha Price, any other standouts to you this morning for the Diamond League heading into the Olympics?
I think Matthew Hudson Smith for the men's equivalent of the 400, I think has really staked his claim to be a 400 meter title contender. It's the first time that he's gone sub 44 in his life. And especially, and given, the fact that, he was just almost close to that gold medal in Budapest last year at the World Championships. He had a little bit, I think he had to miss the British Championships because of a nagging injury, but it seems that, he's been having an excellent season. And this performance here right now, I think he puts him in very good stead to not just make the podium, but to win it in Paris. I thought it was a very, very impressive performance.
Yeah, that performance also as well impressed me as much as Nikisha's performance did for me. I mean, okay, so let's just talk about this and get it out of the way. Noah Lyles running a personal best 981. What are you guys' thoughts? Kamal, you first.
I mean, it's a confidence booster for him, negative wind, of course. Again, he's somebody who thrives off competition and rivalry and all excitement. And earlier this week was a bit controversial in his side, but came out, did make that phase him at 9.81 seconds. Going into the Olympics, a medal contender, obviously, but honestly, Kishane Thompson to me looks to be having a slight edge over him, even though the fact that I think what Noah Lyles would have, apart from his natural talent ability, he can rely on experience as well. Being at every global championship since 2019, but good performance from him. Hopefully, can be there in Paris and be able to give our men run for their money.
All right, Daniel, any thoughts?
Well, I think that there was a lot of anger around track fans because Noah pulled out of one of the meets in Monaco in which he was heavily promoted for. But I think it was in terms of by design and the extra weeks in training obviously helped because he managed to better his personal best even with the negative win. At best, this tells me that probably he does have a chance to go high seven in the high 9.7s. Depending on how fast the track is in Paris, and by all intents and purposes, it should be really fast. But as Kamal said, Kishane is still the front runner as of now. But what this tells me is that Noah Lyles will be fighting for a medal and fighting for the title. Obviously, he's going to have a lot more persons to contend with than he did in recent weeks. And even with whether you love him or hate him, he brings people to the sport and he makes you want to watch. So everyone's going to be tuning in to see if he's right.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Daniel, and also Kemal. I mean, a lot of anger has happened this week, but I mean, it's what it is. These things will, I'm sure a lot of people will be watching the 100 meters. Over the since Bolt left in 2016, there wasn't really much hype around this race. I think this year the 100 meter has put itself back in terms of being a blue ribbon event again in the Olympics. So we're looking forward to that. All right, gentlemen. So let's get into the nitty gritty now, because I'm now gonna ask you about the specific to the Jamaica performance. What do you think? Have you finished off your Let me ask first. Have you finished your predictions yet for the races? Come on.
All right. So I'm actually we'll be starting my prediction between today and tomorrow, because the London Diamond League, I need to see some things and all of that before I actually make a final prediction, because I know for sure that a lot of these athletes have somewhat have an effect on my prediction and change my mind a little bit, and I think overall we should be able to get some surprises from our Jamaican athletes and athletes from we never even thought of mounting the podium.
Okay, yeah, because I think Kemal, you and I are on the same page, because I decided that I was not going to do my prediction until after today. But Daniel, how are you? How are you with your predictions? Have you finished yours as yet?
Um, in the same boat, but they need to, but as you guys, but mine needs to be more refined. But I am thinking, but if we do, I'm thinking that it will be a tall order to surpass our 13 medal total best in 2012. I don't think that we'll get it, but we have every chance of probably getting at least close to it. There may be some surprises in some other events that probably we weren't expecting, and maybe events that maybe as of right now that we may not be front runners to win, but there may be some surprises. So probably by Tuesday, Wednesday, I can probably give a better idea, and of obviously considering that there are persons that haven't raced since the trials and getting their kind of stuff together. So it's going to be very hard to make kind of predictions because everything will be settled on the track. But in terms of an estimation, I don't think that we'll surpass 13, but I think we'll get close.
Okay,
I
so
think we have a chance to get close.
yeah, because now we're 13 we're now 87 medals if the last time I checked overall in the Olympics. So we're now 13 off that 100. I'm thinking that we can get to 100, but I don't know. It means that there might be a lot of surprises, yes, Daniel, for us to get to that 100. So yeah, we're in the same boat. But Kamal, other than Nikisha Price, who else are you looking forward to in terms of the Olympics? Because I know Nikisha is your girl, so I don't even have to ask about her. So let me just.
So I'm looking forward to the likes of the newly minted national record holder Akira Nugent over the 100 hurdles, 12.28 seconds, second fastest heading into the Olympics. We'll be going up against girls who she competed with within the NCAA circuit, Masai Russell, Grace Stark, and all of those girls. Akira Nugent to me goes in, it's hurdles and everything, but Akira Nugent goes in that competition as someone that I do believe that if all goes being well, she can potentially mount the podium, even gold, but again, it's hurdles. Still on the hurdles, and I think about Malik James King and all of those other athletes as well. So yeah, just those two for now.
For now, Daniel, how about you? Any particular event, before I ask you about your athlete, any particular event that you are looking forward to for the Olympics?
Me, maybe because obviously you start with the sprints first, but actually I'm going to go left field and start and go with field first. I'm really excited to see what Jaden Hibbert does this year in the triple jump. I think he has every chance not to just get on the podium, but challenge for the Olympic title. It was very unfortunate that he couldn't finish the World Championship final last year. Had an unfortunate injury and the coach just didn't want to risk it. I think a full pro season now, given in terms of the different changes, mechanics and everything, I think that he has a very good chance. Obviously, there are two competitors that are going to be challenging: Jordan Diaz-Fontu and Pedro Richards, who basically set the world lead at the European Championships. So that's going to be very interesting. And I think for the women's triple jump equivalent, I think that's going to probably be the most contested battle for an Olympic medal in years. I think that the Yulimar Rojas not competing has made it a lot harder. Harder because you have four athletes, including Shanika Ricketts, that can challenge for medals now. Marina Beth Romanchuk, who came second last year. She just did her season opener. She went 14-7, 14-8. She's going to be a contender. Tia Leofan, who has the highest, the best jump in the world this year, going 15 years. She's going to be a factor. Perez Hernandez is going to be a factor this year. I don't think it has really helped the contenders that the reigning undisputed Olympic champion Yulimar Rojas is not competing. It's just made that a lot harder.
Yeah, and just make it more open. All right, gentlemen, stay with me. We're going to go for a quick break right here on Sports Talk, but stay with us as we continue our pre-Olympic feature.
Getting some happiness from abroad? JMMB Money Transfer makes it easy. Receive your money transfer in minutes directly to your JMMB Money Transfer Visa prepaid card, or pick up cash at over 100 locations island-wide or in any local bank account. Just ask your family and friends to send money through any of our international partners like MoneyGram, Ria, Remitly, or Zoom. It's safe, fast, and simple. Day or night, happiness is just a transfer away. It's as easy as JMMB Money Transfer. Call 876-998-JMMB or visit jm.jmnb.com/money transfer for more information. Jamaica! Sundays at 8 p.m. Tune in and be blessed. And don't forget that your vote counts. Yes, your votes will help to decide the winner. 10 finalists, 3 rounds of elimination. But only one finalist will be left standing to become the 2024 Jamaica Gospel Star. Sundays on CBM TV, 8 p.m. You made all the preparations but still suffered serious damage from the hurricane. Recovering from any disaster will be hard, but there is help for those who need it most. Look out for the Ministry of Labor and Social Security to visit your home and make damage assessments. Make sure you have a government-issued ID or letter from a JP identifying you. If you suffered damage to your home and have not been visited by our team, please call 876-922-8013. We're leaving no one behind. A message from the Ministry of Labor and Social Security.
Welcome back to Sports Talk right here on the family station, Love 101 FM. And still with me, Kemal Ford and Daniel Wheeler. Gentlemen, still there?
Yes, I am.
Yep, still here.
Okay, fantastic. So, Daniel, let me start with you because, I don't understand. Like, you could have just tell me that Daniel. I feel like you could have just told me. Anyways, people, Daniel has announced that he is heading to Paris. This is now your second Olympics, right, Daniel?
No, actually, this is my debut. This is the first Olympics that I will be attending. I'm glad to get the band back together with the Gleaner. To give coverage. I was there for 4 years, and I was just glad that I was able to to go again and do the coverage for them this year. I've done 2 World Championships during my time there. I've enjoyed the experience. I don't take for granted exactly the hard work that's going to be involved, and especially the responsibility. But it's definitely an honor to go to do the coverage with the Gleaner again, and to bring this kind of showpiece event. So it's been a bucket list of mine. So I'm proud to do it, proud to get back the band together with the Gleaner and Star, and glad to get the ball rolling again.
Yeah, I'm definitely so happy for you because I think it's the World Championships I'm mixing it up with, which I thought it was your second Olympics. But I'm happy to see you because I really enjoyed your last 2 coverage of the World Championships, and it was good. And I'm looking forward to, of course, your fantastic work that you will give. Kemal, very quickly, Yona, Shelley, and Fraser named as captains, and Shanika and the swimmer named as flag bearers. Your thoughts on that?
I think it's showing a level of diversity, and it's really moving away from the fact that Jamaica is just a track and field based country. Because again, when most Jamaicans hear about the Olympics, they think about track and field. However, Jamaica has swimmer. Jamaica's only non-track and field medal actually came in cycling at the 1980 Moscow Olympics. So again, it's just showing a level of diversity, and I'm liking the fact that they have done that.
Okay, your thoughts, Daniel, in terms of the captain's chosen.
Well, I think it's what Christopher Samuda, JOA president, said yesterday was, and it's really profound, is that they exhibited the qualities of the Olympic movement. Of course, Shelley's resume speaks for itself: 5 world titles, 2 titles, over 20 major medals, both Olympic and world championships. But it's not just in terms of the success on the field, but the way that she has conducted and represents herself throughout a decade-long career. And of course, for Yona, this is his third Olympics, and he has been carrying the flag for diving since Rio 2016. And remember, the last time that we've had a diver before then was back in the 1970s.
Yeah.
So, but I think what the JOA said in the press conference in the media briefing yesterday, that it's just obviously an nod to World Athletics, because I think for the past eight Olympic cycles, they've had at least a swimmer or a diver participating in the games. And I think for both of them, this will be their final Olympics before retirement. And I think that you could have had worse options. And I don't think that I think Jamaica should be very proud of who they have representing them.
Correct. I definitely agree. Kamal, hopefully we can catch up with you maybe next week. Daniel, I know you will be traveling, but we just want to wish you, Daniel, as you go, all the best. Stay safe in Paris, and I'm hoping to hear from you when you return, or maybe we can have a link up whilst you're there in Paris. But we'll work it out. We'll work with your schedule. We'll see how it goes. See if we can talk to you when you're in Paris. I don't know. We'll work it out. But Daniel, safe travel. Kemal, thank you so much for coming on, gentlemen. I really, really appreciate it. And of course, your contribution to the show is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank
you, Kathya. Appreciate it.
All right. Bye. All right, that was Daniel Wheeler and Kamal Ford. Of course, Daniel is heading to the Olympics in Paris to cover as journalist, and of course, Kamal will be here. But we'll be talking further regarding the Olympics. As I said, it's now 6 days before the Olympics, and earlier this week we had a chat. Before he was named captain, we had a chat with Yona, the diver. So sit back, listen to this interview. I did an interview with him this week, and we got some insights as to how he prepares for the Olympics. Take a listen.
All right, so good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Sports Talk. And with us this afternoon, we have our Olympic diver, Yona Wisdom Knight. Yona, thank you so much for agreeing to come on the show today.
Thank you very much for having me.
Before I get into you representing Jamaica, in terms of the Olympics, because this is going to be, your third Olympics. You've represented us in Rio in 2016, in the 2020 Olympics, which took place in 2021. And now this is going to be your third Olympics. But before that, tell us a little bit about Yona. Who is this person, and how did you get into diving?
I'm Yona. I'm from Leeds in the UK. I was born in 1995, so that makes me 29 years old right now. My dad is from Jamaica, my mum is from Barbados, and in terms of the Jamaican connection, that's where that comes from. My dad, I had the choice to make in 2011 when I decided that trying to represent Great Britain wasn't working for me. I had never been selected for the team. I had never had the opportunity to represent them at a competition beforehand, and my coaches suggested the idea of looking elsewhere, and Jamaica became the option. So that became a whole journey of self-discovery, because I hadn't been to Jamaica at that time. Obviously, as I said, I grew up in Leeds, so in just a very English area, and I knew I was very different. I knew there was something very different about me, but there was not that many people that looked like me around me at school and at diving. So actually representing Jamaica allowed me to discover a lot of who I am and why I am the way I am, and some of the traits that I have. It made sense, and it was explained to me as I started to represent Jamaica. So it's been quite a journey, and I'm super proud to be representing Jamaica at my third Olympic Games.
All right, great. So let's talk about, so you said you grew up in Leeds. Let's talk about what age did you get into diving?
Yeah, I started diving at 9 years old. So I picked it up through a talent identification program where the City of Leeds Diving Club were going around schools in the city, testing thousands of kids to see if there would be any that had the potential to make it to the highest level. So what they tested was very basic gymnastics exercises, and their whole thing was they were looking for, standout athletes, standout kids, and I stood out to them, and I got selected to try diving at the pool. And from my first session, I absolutely loved it. Now, unfortunately, I had a good foundation in gymnastics beforehand, so that helped the transfer across and made it a little bit easier. But I just loved it so much, and I still love it now, which is why I'm still going 20 years later.
Great. So you speak about gymnastics. So tell me in terms of gymnastics, because you transferred from gymnastics to diving, but were those the only sports you were doing as a youngster?
No, I kind of did any sport that I was able to try. I was obsessed by sport from a very young age. My mum took me to swimming lessons from a very young age, so I knew how to do that. And at school, I would play rugby, I'd play football, cricket, I'd do athletics, I'd do a bit of everything. But gymnastics was the thing that I was kind of best at from a young age, so probably from the age of about 5. And then when diving came into my life, it was a very easy decision to give up gymnastics and focus on diving because I just found it a lot more fun. But as I say, at the time, I had learned just about enough skills in gymnastics that just gave me the perfect foundation for diving, so that the transfer from the technique of gymnastics, which can be a little bit different, even though the foundations are the same, the transfer, of course, was really, really easy. And then after that, as I say, I just enjoyed diving much more than I enjoyed any other sport. So that's the one that I kind of prioritized. That's the one that I stuck to, and it's the one that I still stick to now.
Okay, and for those, in terms of, if there's a youngster out there, Jamaican, I would say, who would want to be interested in diving, how do you think, what has your impact been in terms of locally on the dive community? Any contributions there?
Yeah, it's been a hard one, obviously being based over here in the UK, being far away from Jamaica. The fact that there are no kind of fit for purpose facilities in Jamaica where a program can just be started immediately. There's a lot of things that need to be created and put in place first before even youngsters can potentially dream of being Olympic divers. But that's something I'm trying to work on now. Over the last 10 years or so, whilst I've been representing Jamaica, my goal has been to just put Jamaica on the diving map so that when people in the diving world see Jamaica at a competition, they're not like surprised or taken aback, because they definitely were at first when I got involved, because there hadn't been one for almost half a century. But now, after these games, and actually from last year, I'm starting to try and put the foundations in place in Jamaica. I did a dive camp last summer in Kingston. I'm doing another one this summer in August. Literally straight after the games, I'm flying to Kingston to do my camp. The registration window is already closed for that, so I've had people sign up for it, which is great, and hopefully all those people can come. And then on the last day of the camp, I'm hoping to do a big display so the participants can show off what they've learned in front of a big crowd of spectators. Last year I tried to do the same thing, but it was quite small. There was just friends and family. But this year I'm hoping to open it up to a bit more media and a bit more public, and get people in to see what diving is all about and what can potentially happen in Jamaica. Because I'm certain that Jamaicans can have talent in this sport. I really believe it's true. There's so many elements of track and field, for example, that would actually be really useful in diving, such as power. But if I can kind of get a program and a structure in place, then that can happen. So yeah, for this summer, the display is going to be on the 24th of August, and I'd love for people to come and watch.
All right, so that's the 24th of August.
24th of August, that's the plan.
Okay, great. I'm gonna write that down in my calendar because it's gonna happen at the stadium pool.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, great. So I'll write it down in my calendar, and I will be there because I'd love to come and see, what the development in terms of diving looks like, and maybe we could scout out some talents there and, see where they can go from there.
Yes,
all right.
please.
So
I haven't quite got the time. Sorry, I haven't quite got the time like locked down yet. So if anyone's looking for information about that closer to the time, they can just go to my website, which is yonakw.me, and they can get the info there.
Okay, great, fantastic. All right, so let's get into the Olympic stuff, because it's it's Olympic season in Jamaica and everybody's really looking towards track and field. But I thought, having a conversation with you will bring some light to your diving, and not that, and too because I guess I'm fascinated also by diving. I remember the last Olympics, I was up at 2 a.m. watching you dive. So yeah, so all right. So going into Paris, how do you feel? What's the feeling like?
Yeah, I'm excited to get there. I think my feeling is probably shared amongst all Jamaicans, just that anticipation, that excitement, especially with it being right around the corner. Obviously there's hopes. We have high hopes. We want a lot. I definitely want success, but you just never know because it's sport and you don't know what's going to happen on the day. But people can know that I'm doing everything possible now to make sure that I'm in the best position when I get to Paris, because even though I head out on Tuesday, so it's coming up very soon, but there I still have 2 full weeks before the start of my competition. So even though it feels like it's right around the corner, there's still a lot of time and I've got a lot of room to grow still. And I feel like I'm moving into the right window, which is really exciting for me. I just got to keep my head down, not get too excited by everything that goes on whilst I get there. I'll have time after the opening ceremony, for example, to just like relax and actually get into a rhythm before my competition. So yeah, there's so many things that I'm looking forward to, but at the same time, I'm trying to just keep myself calm and keep focused on the day-by-day process of preparing myself properly for a competition, which, being 29 years old and having done this for 13 years internationally, I feel like I know what I'm doing. But I have to follow the process and hope that it's the correct thing.
Right. All right. So in terms of what is it like, I guess, for you as a diver in the Olympic Village with the other athletes? What is it usually like for you? Because the core team is usually track and field, and then we have 1 and 2 sports, you being one of the other sports outside of track and field. What's usually the spirit within the team or within the Olympic Village like, representing Jamaica in a non-traditional sport for us?
Yeah, I think we have 3 other sports other than track and field. So it's me in diving, judo, and swimming. Sorry.
Yeah, swimming.
We had a gymnast at the last games.
Correct.
We don't have gymnastics this time around, and Jamaica's doing, I think, their best to try and expand and diversify the sports a little bit more. And you see that coming through at the Commonwealth Games, at the Pan Am Games, but not quite at the Olympics yet. So the fact that I'm there as one of the non-traditional sports, quote unquote, is really cool. And the fact that I've been there for 3 Olympic Games on the run is really cool. But for me, especially my first one, it was like a dream because I've watched these athletes that I see walking around the village, not to mention in the Jamaican team on TV for years. All the track and field athletes, I know who they are. I follow their journey. As I say, I'm a big sports fan. I love sport, so I see what they do, and for me to be a part of that, especially with some of the legends, that I don't think I need to mention their names, so everyone knows who they are. Just to be amongst them for me is beyond a dream, and I hope that whilst I'm there, I don't want to be out of place. So I want to make sure that I'm giving my best as well, because I know that they all give their best for the country. But being in the village in the Jamaican tracksuit, you definitely get like second and third looks from other people. Like, they just want to kind of double check who that is. And that shows how iconic the Jamaican tracksuit is and how exemplary some of the people that have worn it are.
Right.
Because as soon as you wear that tracksuit walking around the village, people take notice. And
right.
That's
they want to know. They want to know who this. Like, I've never seen you before. Like,
yeah. So it definitely. I mean, most people are probably just looking for Usain Bolt, but it definitely stands out, and that feels really, really cool being in that village setting because you stand out. It's cool to stand out in the sporting world.
Right. So In terms of, well, let me ask you this though: have you ever fan out in front of any of the or superstars, track and field superstars?
Generally, I've kept myself pretty calm. I've definitely asked for people for photos in the past, but the one that I was the most starstruck by was Usain Bolt, because he was such an idol to me growing up. You know, there was kind of 2 or 3 athletes that really stood out to me as I was growing up. He was one of them, Usain Bolt, and Lewis Hamilton was another one. That they were 2 really inspiring athletes for me. I've not had the pleasure of meeting Lewis yet, but yeah, meeting Bolt for the first time, it was a really cool experience. And you know, in Rio, for example, I went and I got like a shirt signed by him and Asafa. And you know, talking to both of them, I was literally there shaking. I couldn't relax, but it's because I know they almost transcend the sport. You know,
Right.
and almost the games as well as a whole. You know, it's it's a different level, and not many people have the pleasure to be in their company like that, where I could just have a normal conversation with them.
Yeah.
Of course, seeing Shelly Ann at various games and Elaine and things like that, you know, it's really cool because, as I say, I watch them, I'm inspired by them. It's yeah, it's really cool. But Bolt was the main one for sure.
Okay, great. All right. So talk to us something that persons don't normally talk about. Well, what's like your pre-competition like when you're preparing now, you're at the Olympics, you're now preparing. What type of music do you listen to? And do you like eat specific food when you're at the Olympic Village, or you just, you know, how is that for you?
Yeah, in terms of food, I have my kind of general routine when I'm back at home. So the goal when I go into the village is to try and replicate that as best as possible. The good thing is I have, as I mentioned, 2 full weeks before my competition starts. So the goal when I get to Paris on Tuesday is to try and suss out the dining hall, see which foods I like, see what feels like normal to me, and then just try and find that routine as quickly as possible so that when it comes to competition day, I already know what I want to eat for breakfast, for example. I'm not trying to figure that out. So that's the goal in that respect. And you know, fortunately, there's plenty of options in the
In the
dining hall.
Olympic
So,
Village?
yeah, so it'll be super easy to find something that suits me, but trying to do it as soon as possible will allow me to get into my rhythm as quickly as possible. And then when it comes to competition day, um, you know, I like to I generally listen to hip hop music or R&B. That's the kind of vibe that I listen to. I'll probably go a bit more R&B when I'm having a bit of downtime just before the competition starts or something, just try and calm myself. But then when the competition actually kicks off, I'll probably get some hip hop music on. Meek Mill is a decent one to get the blood pumping and get the energy going. Jay-Z, people like that, you know, that's the energy that I kind of take into competition. And I've pretty much had the same playlist on my phone for the last like 8 years. So it's a go-to. I already know the words of the songs. I know what is coming. So it's not a surprise to me. And that then makes it feel normal. So even though it is an Olympic Games, it feels just as big as when I compete at the national championships, you know, in terms of the approach. I'm trying to make it feel just similar to that.
Okay.
So I don't get like too hyped up or too nervous, you know, because diving's not a sport where you can where you have to just like put in 100%. That's probably the difference between diving and sprinting, for example.
Right.
The track, like obviously you have to go through your phases, but you run as hard as you can, as fast as you can, as long as you can. Whereas with diving, if you try that, your dive's going to go wrong. You have to have finesse and control. So that comes from controlling my emotions significantly before I even step on the board for my dive.
And you'll be doing the 1 meter springboard and 3 meter springboard in Paris?
No, just 3 meter. 1 meter is not an Olympic event, so it's just a 3 meter springboard that I'm doing.
Right, right. 3 meter springboard. What has it been like in terms of your own preparation now for Paris? In terms like pre-competition, have they gone the way you want them to go? And I hear you say, you just want to stick to the type of routine that I suspect diving is one of those routine sports. You want to get it like this. When you get it perfect, you want to get it like this every single step of the way throughout the remainder of the weeks. But going back to the question, what has been the pre-competitions before the Olympics for you?
Yeah, this has been a busy year for me, actually. I've had a lot of traveling, especially earlier in the year. We went to Doha for the World Championships, which was the qualification event. And then from there, just 2 weeks afterwards, I had a World Cup event in Montreal, and then another one in Berlin, and then another one in China. And then after that, not long until the national championship. So it was a lot of traveling, which was really, really tough on the body because it's a lot of time zone changes. I'm kind of at the back end of my recovery process from my knee injury that happened in 2022. And, Doha, for example, the World Championships, that was literally a year after I had just started diving again from that knee injury. So I hadn't had much time, and I'm actually very fortunate that I was able to go to Doha and qualify because I still had a lot of room to improve my dives, but I was fortunately able to get into a place where I did well enough there to get my spot. So they've not all been perfect. I've had some really good ones. I've had some really disappointing ones. But again, speaking about the routine, I try to approach each one the same, because if you can maintain that consistency, then that means the training that you do beforehand then has the impact in the competition. So since the national championships in May, I've had time to kind of step back, rebuild my kind of technique and skills properly, and now they're starting to feel comfortable and I'm feeling more confident in them again, so that when I get to Paris, the confidence will be much higher, and that routine can keep me on a level process all the way through to the final, hopefully.
All right, great. I mean, I want to wish you, and I'm sure all of Jamaica wants to wish you all the best, and I'm sure we'll be up watching you whatever time it will be in Jamaica. I think your qualification, I think, is another early morning that we have again here.
Yeah, it's early in Paris.
Yeah, it's gonna be early morning, but I'll definitely be watching, and we just want to wish you all the best, and we want to say thank you for choosing Jamaica to represent Jamaica, and you've made us so proud, spreading the name of Jamaica within diving, and we appreciate that so much. Thank you so much, Yona, for joining us today on Sports Talk. It has been fantastic. Thank you so much for, telling us about your routines and all the things. I'm sure some of us, like myself, learned a little bit more about you today. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And of course, we'll be cheering you on. And of course, we'll talk. Of course, we have to link up when you come to Jamaica for your diving camp.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. I appreciate the support, and I'm looking forward to representing once again in Paris.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, that was my interview earlier this week with now the named or newly named Jamaican captain Yona Knight Wisdom, who is our Olympic diver, who will be representing us in the 3-meter springboard in the Paris Olympics. This has been Sports Talk. This has been our pre-Olympic show. I hope you enjoyed it. It has been fantastic. And of course, by the time we speak next week, we'll be getting into the nitty-gritties of the Olympics and what is to come and what the schedule will be like and all of that. It's been Sports Talk. We do this every Saturday between the hours of 1 to 2 p.m. right here on the family station Love 101. Of course, you can listen back to Sports Talk if you download our app in the App Store or the Google Play Store. You can always listen to it as a podcast. Thank you so much. Do enjoy the rest of your afternoon.